Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! JK, welcome to another episode of my review slash recap of Iyanla Fix My Life. This episode was Gabe and Trina Braxton, as it were. So this is the look that I'm going to be showing for you guys today. If you'd like to see how I got this look and you want to discuss this episode of Iyanla Fix My Life, please continue watching. Okay, so I've already done my eyebrows. I still have a little bit of curlers in my hair to, keep it curled up and whatnot. So let's get into this episode. This episode was a little boring to me. I think what's happening is that the producers are putting in the fun stuff and then the boring stuff and then the fun stuff and then the boring stuff to kind of keep us involved and interested. I'm usually not ever really interested in celebrities, especially celebrities I know. I don't exactly know who Trina Braxton is, but I know she's a Braxton and I know they have that show, so I know that they are celebrities in their own right, So anyways, this episode was about Trina Braxton and her ex-husband Gabe and how they have a relationship that's probably a little too intimate, seeing as how they have been divorced for the past 2 years. And the reason why they were divorced is because Gabe has cheated on Trina and she just felt like that was what she needed to do in order, it was happening so publicly and she didn't want to be embarrassed anymore, and so she needed to divorce him. Let's get into this episode. So Iyanla first starts off by saying that she hesitated to pick them as a couple because sometimes when celebrities get on there, it's just a ploy. Like, they're not really there for healing, they're there for the publicity. She says that first and foremost, it's not about the cameras. And I'm just a little bit like, it's not about the cameras, but you do a show on television, so it's a little bit about the cameras. Anyways, they're there to get help from Iyanla based upon just figuring out the boundaries of what's going on. Also, Trina says that she wants Gabe to work out the issues with their son. So Gabe adopted her 2 sons that she had already had from a previous relationship. So her youngest son, Caleb, really only knows Gabe as his only father. Caleb is 19 years old. Her other son, Aaron, or let's just call him Silky Smooth because I'm not sure if that's his name. Silky Smooth is 22 years old and Aaron is 19 years old. And so they got the divorce when Aaron was 17 years old. And apparently, Aaron really hasn't spoken to Gabe much since the divorce. Gabe has been in Aaron's life since he was 2 years old. So that's odd, right? Iyanla asks Gabe what he taught the son. Like, what is it that, what their relationship is? What did he teach them as a father? And he says nothing, that he didn't teach anything and that it was the job of the bio dad. And he feels like, Caleb really needs the affection and the love from his bio dad. So Iyanla says, that's a problem. The fact that you could have raised a child and at this time, when I'm asking you, what did you teach him? You're saying you didn't teach him anything when you were his primary male figure in his life. And he's just like, well, he has no real answer for that. So they go in a little bit about how they're still a little bit intimate. I think that they're still having, I know they're still having sex, but also the fact that Gabe broke his nose or something, or broke something, I don't know, had surgery with his nose, and he required 24-hour help at some point. And so Trina stepped up and did it. Trina stepped up and took care of him. And then after that, he moved into her back house, which I was just like, what does you having surgery have to do with you not having a place to live? But okay, maybe he fell upon some hard times. He lived in the backyard for a month and he had no interaction with Caleb, his son, his son. They don't have any kids together. He doesn't have any kids outside of Trina that we know of. And his youngest son, is ignoring him. So basically his relationship with Silky Smooth has been fine. Like, it's just the relationship between the youngest son. Iyanla then walks away and goes and talks to Caleb and Silky Smooth. So she asks the important question. So what is the issue? Why is it that you don't like him or you don't respect him? So basically Caleb says it's because of the way he's treated the mom. That the mom has severe low self-esteem due to it, that it was never really any sort of explanation as to what happened in their relationship. Like, he kind of piecemealed it together, and he knows that Gabe is a jerk, and he's never really liked Gabe ever in his life. So Iyanla tries to figure out, like, okay, so what exactly is the relationship like? What was it like being in the house? He's like, well, mom was off, doing whatever, and Gabe would be in his office on the computer. So Iyanla's like, well, who raised you guys? Did you guys have a nanny? Did you have an au pair? Silky Smooth says that they just had people in and out of the house, you know, they kind of just did their own thing. And I could easily see that being the case, especially when you had like help and you have people around you to do things. Like, you don't have to like step in and like really be there as a parent if you don't need to. And so that's what Gabe did. He wasn't really there. He was there, but he wasn't really there. So Iyanla then goes back and speaks with Trina and Gabe. And she talks to them about Gabe's involvement in the kids and like what they said. And she says, you know, I did ask them if they were sexually or mentally abused by Gabe, and they both said no. And then she brings up the fact that Gabe, you know, wasn't really present and that Trina wasn't there. She finally gets in the famous tagline of the episode: "You are busy chasing fame and you were busy chasing ass." So I was like, okay. Trina's like, that is not what our household was like. I don't know what they're talking about. This is all news to me. I didn't know they felt that way. And of course they wouldn't. She's out there trying to, you know, do things to secure their future. So she's not necessarily thinking like, you know, she's not being there for her kids the way I guess they require. And Gabe is like, that wasn't my job. Like, I was physically there. Like, I didn't know I had to emotionally, I guess, be there. He wasn't aware that that was his position in their lives. Like I said, this episode was kind of boring to me, so if I'm skipping things, it's because I didn't really remember it. Oh, also something that was weird is, where is Trina from? Because it's like, I would hear her accent, so I just kind of assumed she was Southern or like Midwestern, and then all of a sudden she'd say something weird like house. I think she said house weird. I was like, what? What just happened? Did she just get like possessed for a moment? She's like, you know, when we would go into the house, and I was like, I like to use the Laura Mercier, like, the original transparent for certain areas because it doesn't leave behind, like, a yellow cast. Okay, so that's it for my face. Let's move into the eyes. I'm going to zoom in, and we're going to work on the eyes and then talk about day 2 in the healing house. All right? Okay, I keep looking over thinking this is like a flower in my hair right here. I'm like, maybe I should get a flower if I can find one and put one in my hair. Day 2 of the healing house. Iyanla takes the moment to talk privately to Gabe because she feels like there's something going on with Gabe. He's acting, what she says, like an abused person. So she goes and has like a little conversation with him with no cameras. I mean, definitely with sound though, but with no cameras. So she asks Gabe about like abuse and like, you know, I guess his past, and if he feels like Trina, you know, how is she really in the house? And, you know, basically he divulges that she is verbally abusive to him, that she puts him down a lot. And that's part of the reason of the breakdown of their marriage. She brings them together and she lets Trina know that that is what her husband is feeling. And she's shocked. We're going to be using the Masquerade palette by Juvia's Place. All of the eyeshadows in this video will be from Juvia's Place. I love Juvia's Place. So Gabe then confesses to Trina about how he's feeling, about how she makes him feel less than, and that nothing that he does is ever good enough. And, you know, just like tells her the truth about his feelings. And he almost starts to cry. And he says that the reason why he accepted that kind of behavior is because it was what he was used to. So Iyanla is basically saying that it was a pattern for him because it is something that he experienced as a young person, people belittling him and talking down to him. And so when he then chose his partner, he chose a woman who was kind of the same way. And then Iyanla says something baiting, as she always does, and she says, you know, he didn't realize that his past was like that, and you didn't realize that your family and, you know, your mother raised you to be a mean, sharp-tongued woman. So that got Trina upset. So then I think Iyanla realized that she was never going to get anywhere with that. So she stopped the cameras and pulled Trina aside to have a conversation with Trina regarding the matter, because she knew that Trina wasn't going to be truthful because she's a celebrity in her own right? So she doesn't want to necessarily be on camera airing her family's dirty laundry, and then, like, you know, having Iyanla refer to her mother as somebody who taught her how to be, you know, that kind of woman. Gosh. Blending it out. I haven't done eyeshadow like this in such a long time, guys. This is not going to be a very good example of how you do your eyeshadow, just so you know. I'm just kind of frustrated because this is a story I think that needed to be told, but it didn't though. Like, it was just so, like, mundane. They just needed to, like, Trina just needed to know she had an attitude problem and that she can sometimes be demeaning and put her husband down. And Trina and Iyanla have a conversation. She talks about her, you know, a little bit about the household she grew up in with very strong women, and that is just kind of how she has interpreted the idea of being a strong woman and what that means to her. And maybe she was a little strong and heavy-handed with her husband, and she definitely didn't mean to do that. She also apologized to Gabe, you know, saying that she never meant to do that to him, to belittle him, to make him feel less than, or that he wasn't good enough. And so that was a nice thing that happened. Like, she was able to reconcile that with him there in that moment and kind of look at herself. And it was all very civil. And it was all very nice. I mean, she cried, you know, definitely, because nobody wants to be told that that's how they make someone feel, you know, especially when you were having low self-esteem and your marriage fell apart after 12 years. Like, you don't want to hear that you're belittling of them, and even if you weren't even aware of it, that you belittled them and you kind of drove them away in case. So then we pulled it full circle and Caleb got there, and Caleb was telling Gabe how he felt, and it paralleled almost eerily to the experience that Gabe was having with Trina. Ooh, girl, trying something new. We are trying something new. I would never normally wear this color on my lid. Never, 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 never. I mean, what can I say? It worked out. Like, that's what I mean by this episode wasn't exactly like, it's not like I was like, oh man, and then this happened, and you know, they took the tools that were given to them by Iyanla and ran with it and did a great job with utilizing the things that they got from her. She also wanted to be very specific with Gabe and Trina, making sure that they understood that their relationship and how it was and the boundaries that were being bridged needed to stop, because neither of them would ever be able to move on. And they also made a pact about not talking about the new people that they're dating with each other, you know, keeping it very like, they can be friends, but they don't have to be as involved in their personal lives as they've allowed each other to be involved in their personal lives. I mean, so what else can I say about this episode? Nothing. I'm not the best at putting on makeup, but I can definitely fake it and lead you to believe that I knew what I was doing. So I went on ahead and added, is it fuzzy? I added a color into my inner tear duct right here. It is this color in the Juvia's Space palette. It doesn't have any names, so I have to just kind of point to it. This is what I put on my lid, and this is the color that I used on my crease. Trina just didn't think Gabe was a real man. Like, she challenged his manhood a lot and expected him to do certain things and step up in certain instances, and he did not, and she was upset about it. And she let him know how upset she was about it. And it just broke him down. It put their relationship into, as Iyanla would say, breakdown. And that's where it remained until it fizzled out. And that sucks. But at least now they know. And I think it was a really good exercise and episode in them understanding what they did to each other. So yeah. I had to add eyelashes because when you do really big makeup looks, you have to add eyelashes because otherwise it just gets lost. So now I'm going to use Kat Von D Everlasting Liquid Lipstick. This is the color Bauhaus 5. It is a staple for me. I absolutely love it. I love Kat Von D in general, but this is a really good pink on a lot of different skin tones. So now I'm just going to spray my face with a little like dewy misting corrective coloring situation that I got from Korea. It's a Korean skincare product. A friend of mine sent it. So it really does dewy up my face. One day I wore it without any makeup and I was so greasy and shiny from head to toe that I was mad at my coworkers for letting me walk around looking like a disco ball. So the conclusion of this episode is that Iyanla gave them some healthy tips and tools on how to carry their relationship into the future, and it looks like everything is good and they really got some help in this healing house. So, you know, it was fine. Like, it was a boring episode, but I think they have to wedge in some successes or some obvious successes as you go along. I'm ready to see her doing some like healing. I really like the Mitchell Brothers story. I just want, you know, it is TV, girl. Even though she says it's not, it is TV. All right, you guys, so that is the end of this episode. If you have any questions, comments, or concern, or would like to join the conversation, please leave a comment down below. Remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye.